Exciting episode of Codename New 202. Hi, I'm your presenter, Shabu Are You. Now, during our coverage of the Silent Options storyline, I had indicated that we would one day go back and revisit this four-parter because at the end of each issue was Helix's origin story, and that was written by Ryan Ferrier. So I'm sure that him and Larry Hama had to go back and forth because this story is a precursor to the events that would unfold in the Silent Options storyline. And also, I wanted to, I think old school fans and new school fans will appreciate this episode because it shows how character development goes about without the presence of a toy being forced onto Larry Hama and the team. We need something, and you could see that Larry Hama was sick and tired of it around 1991 to 94. He just had fatigue. Case in point, Toxo Viper, zombie vipers and all this other stuff. You could tell it was like what he did in the Marvel run, what these characters were mentioned was a big beep beep, to Hasbro, F you, I mean, so far removed from the military aspect that he and we all love as fans in Zombie Viper, come on. Any case, I found this to be really well done because Helix, the character in itself, is interesting. She has, she just had one toy and her first appearance was in a video game. No other GIJoe character had their debut or their introduction to the fan base via a unlocked character in a terrible video game that probably not a lot of people played. But she's, a modern collector fan favorite. So I was interested in knowing more about her. And I'm going to say this. What I've discovered while covering modern GIJoe comics is I love how the new characters and old characters have a wonderful synergy, and it feels GIJoe. Now, you can't say that with other entities, and I know the term SJW has been thrown out there. I'm not going to get into that. It's mostly coined by millennials, and I understand what they're saying. With Star Wars and everything, I understand, and also in some comic books, I do understand. I've seen it, but I'm not going to dive into that. But I just think that this is a really well done story, and the artwork by Kenneth Loh is excellent. His style and how it's a backstory and a precursor to what would follow in the Silent Option is well done. It's like a nice yin and yang, and I think this deserves its own episode on the channel just to highlight this backstory of Helix. So without further ado, let's dive into Codename Agent Helix. Codename Helix is an origin story by Ryan Ferrier. The art is done by Ken Loh. I think it's exceptionally done and enhances the story. As I stated in the video on part 1 of the Silent Options storyline, Helix is a modern character. She's the only GIJoe character to begin as an unlockable character in the terrible Rise of Cobra video game. Despite that, she has gone to become a popular character amongst modern collectors. Why is that? I guess it's because she's shrouded in mystery, and everyone loves a badass butt-kicking girl. A lot of millennial YouTubers will say SJW. I'm a Gen Xer. I still don't know what the hell that means. I guess having a strong female character like Rey in Star Wars being shoved down our throat deters a lot of people, and all the political correctness that we're seeing in comics nowadays. I don't know. All I care about is good versus rubbish. And this origin and how a character come about is exceptionally done, to the point where I'm actually looking to add both a bomb strike and a helix to my collection. Before we begin, note all of this is a precursor to the events unfolding in the Silent Options storyline that we covered. Bomb Strike has been summoned by General Hawk to his personal cabin in the middle of nowhere. I mean, just look at it. It looks like a little hunting lodge. All Bomb Strike has been given is a good old-fashioned map. No GPS, no tech, no nothing. All of this is off the grid, as the artist illustrated. Also note Bomb Strike's corporal ranking. As we've seen, she is worthy, evoking images of Stalker and Beachhead's ability in the past. And on a side personal note, I've been beyond impressed with her ability to lead, so it's no surprise General Hawk reached out to her to tackle this assignment. Bomb Strike asks, how off the grid does she really need to be for this? Hawk says, hey, if you survive, and if I could, I'd wipe your memory of this entire thing. Yikes! He hands her one photo, presumed to be of Helix, and states that this is the only proof of her existence. I'm already hooked. So the backstory begins with Snake Eyes in the midst of toppling a human trafficking ring. Loh and Ferrier do an excellent job capturing Commando, the true Snake Eyes. And I think it's wonderful that they do this. So we see him making quick work of the thugs and lowlives, how he goes about setting people free. Folks, keep in mind that human trafficking is very much a real problem. And do not think you're safe from this evil in suburbia. Get involved, speak up, help someone if you can. He notices one section zoned off. Of course, being a man of honor, Snake Eyes will not leave one soul behind. But several of the guards that he has yet to kick the crap out of come screaming, don't open that door. Legit fear is coming from their eyes. He swings the door open and he sees a lone girl sitting there quietly in the dark. How dangerous can this girl be? When we get to the next section, remember that, obviously Snake Eyes can't talk, so he can't let anybody know who he is and that what he's doing. So he approaches the little girl, unlocks her from her bindings. You can see all of the guys scared shitless of what is about to unfold. So as soon as the bindings fall, this girl goes completely nuts and goes after Snake Eyes. And we see Snake Eyes a little bit caught and is taken back by this. And immediately the soldiers are like, kill her, kill everybody, save yourself. They were afraid of her. So they had her locked up to protect themselves from her, because she's like a crazy Wolverine. And you thought, other teenage daughters were a mess. This girl is absolutely insane. But, of course, Snake Eyes reserves himself, and he's all about protecting her. And, again, you don't need to communicate. The girl sees this, that, oh my gosh, this guy is actually, he took a bullet for her. So she's witnessing this and like, wait, this guy is actually here to protect me. So she switches and starts coming on Snake Eyes' side. So we see Snake Eyes is dodging bullets, taking fire, and she's gathering herself. And, she begins to attack the scumbags and thugs, and she's back to back fighting with Snake Eyes. And that's amazing. You have this little girl who's taking on these quote unquote professional soldiers, and she's just going hog wild. But here's the part that's amazing. You know, we have savants that are good with music. Apparently, she's a savant for killing. She's watching everything Snake Eyes is doing, and like photographic memory, she just mimics Snake Eyes. Every single move, every single like turn and twist, she has it down to a science, and that's what Hawk's reflecting. I guess he saw this on his body cam or something. I mean, how else would he be able to retell this to Bomb Strike? Points out that upon first meeting Helix, people may think that she's, not all there, but the fact is she's really intelligent. She's picking up all of Snake Eyes' move like a flash memory. So she's a savant in that sense, in that she's able to mimic all of this Arashikage moves in a single glance. So in the next series, we see that all of the individuals that were imprisoned by the human traffickers are all free. They're all brought to GIJoe's base and will be examined by, the GIJoe medical staff. And you see that finally Helix is able to trust one human being in this world, and that's Snake Eyes. And they haven't spoken a word to each other. That was the beauty of watching this unfold, that neither of them talked, but they just knew. And you could see that even Snake Eyes is falling for her, wanting to take her under his wing and protect her. Hawk joins in, and I guess he's already been briefed on the situation with Helix, that this young girl with these exceptional skill set, she is kind of feral and kind of dangerous, so approach with caution. But she also sees the trust that Snake Eyes and Hawk have for each other, that level of respect and trust. So again, she follows Hawk wherever Hawk's taken her, but she looks back at Snake Eyes, and you could see the look in her eyes is one of love and fondness, that I found something that I've been looking for, and that's a human being that understands me. So Hawk proceeds to take her down to the medical room and, letting her know that she's safe. They're in a safe place. You don't have to worry. Even though she's not saying anything, she's listening to everything Hawk is saying. So Hawk entrusts her with the medical staff. Big mistake. So Hawk sits down for a cup of coffee, and immediately sirens go off. They're like, there's a situation. Everybody to the medical exam bed. And Hawk is like, oh crap, and throws his coffee to the ground, and he sees like an entire SWAT team go into that area. I remember, this is a little girl who's probably like in her teens, early teens, and she demands this much respect from all these people to try to subdue her, because she's insane. She's like a crazed Wolverine. And you see she knocked over the staff and everything, and the chief medical examiner is like, stay back, she's just scared and confused. Now, we assume that Helix's even further backstory must have been pretty messed up. I mean, she must have been through a lot of shit to be turned into a feral caddis, essentially, and just lashing out like that. So it must have been rough until Snake Eyes discovered her. After water, food, and shelter, the next thing every human being craves is a sense of belonging. Now remember, Hawk is doing all of this off the grid. There is no paperwork leading to Helix. Now we've seen how Hawk operates during the Marvel run. He is no Boy Scout. Helix is an asset to GIJoe. He is setting her up to be the GIJoe assassin. But he isn't totally a scumbag. Bob and Carol, Bob was once in the Special Forces agent, and his wife Carol is an ex-mixed martial arts champion. Her new brother is a computer hacking prodigy. This family is under the Witness Protection Program, so Bob and Carla aren't even their real names. But we see that this off-the-wall family is exactly what Helix needs, a family. You can tell there is love and a sense of togetherness in this household, no matter how crazy they are. We jump to Helix being 18 and 20 years old, But instead of being a star athlete or getting ready to attend Rutgers University, she's going on assignments, disposing whomever Hawk assigns to her and commissions her to do so. In her world, it's her family and her missions. She operates outside of the GIJoe, outside of everything, and is Hawk's personal executioner. Bombstrike hears this and is appalled that Hawk would be so diabolical. And, it's like he is doing something good and saving this young girl and giving her a family, but at the same side, he's having her secretly trained to be a killer. Hawk is very much aware that this doesn't make him look good. Quite frankly, he looks at Bombstrike. He's like, I don't give a crap what you think. This is the assignment. Go out and do your job and bring back our asset. Find out where she is because she's gone missing. Bombstrike has no choice but to follow orders. But man, oh man, Hawk is a dick. Alright, now that we're done, oh my god, Hawk is such a dick. He takes this little prodigy girl, stuffs her away, and puts her in a situation where, she is groomed to be an assassin. I guess in Hawk's mind, he'd rather have this prodigy with him than having to deal with her later down the road. I understand that. And of course, we've seen in Marvel how, Hawk has done this type of stuff before. It makes his character really, really twisted. But, on the good side, but I'm just blown away how, he took this little girl and made her own personal assassin. Again, that's not far removed from what Cobra Commander was doing with Dawn Marino. Dawn was the same thing. She was a prodigy in the Cobra Youth, and Cobra Commander kind of groomed her to be his personal assassin. So again, Duke Cobra Commander. One's supposed to be bad, one's supposed to be good. It's subjective. That's what I find really interesting. And I wanted to point that out at the very end to everybody. And again, write in your comments, what do you think? Because this is a crazy twist, and that's why I wanted to do this video, is just to bring that out. Because we all love, Hawk, and we all, at the same time, Hawk has a little dark side to him. So again, I want to thank everybody for joining me. Stay tuned for another episode of Codename New 2 Video 2. See you later.